sure I got this right. Here we go. We're coming to you live from the Varsity Tips Center from the AH Times office. Scott was in the wrong office. That's what the delay was. All my fault as always, but I figured it out, I guess. Got a very special guest. We're supposed to have two special guests. Not quite sure if we're going to miss him or not. He said he can hop on for about 10 minutes. We're going to possibly have David Leary on. So we'll pause for that introduction. If he hops in while he's at his son's soccer game, is what he said. So we have Guy Pearson with us today of Ignition, founder of Ignition or co-founder. I don't know what we like to call you here.
Whatever you want.
Guys, guys, an OG on this show. He's this is your third time on the show. First time as Accounting High, I think. Is that right?
Since the rebrand.
Definitely the first time. I haven't heard you rap live yet, so that's what I'm missing out on.
You might.
So I'm here.
You might hear something. I gave Ignition 2 shout outs on my last on one of my raps, so I could spit a bar from there. I didn't just finish, but I just started another new one. But I don't know why we had to bring up rap just first thing. This is the ABC tournament. This is tournament coverage. This is live ABC tournament. I got my homie Byron back.
What's happening, folks?
Joining us today. We have some really big matchups to discuss today, and really highly anticipated close matchups. We're going to reveal the results. We're revealing the results of the Elite Eight in the ABC tournament and who made it to the Final Four. Guy, you're on the line here, and Leary is supposed to be on the line as well. What do you think, Guy? Like, of this whole, actually, just give us a little bit of your perspective from down under of this whole tournament.
So having a bracket at March Madness super common here, but I will say that we've got more folks in understand March Madness, the Final Four, etc., etc. And I've come last every year. We've run a bracket and a tourney internally, but this team. Well, actually, I don't know the results from the small game over here, but I had UConn in my bracket. Took the sweep internally, so that's a fluke. But I'm hoping.
I don't know if it's a fluke. I think usually it's always the people that don't know much. It's the ones that don't know much about all of it that end up winning. Like, because we're too close to it.
I had no idea who to pick. It's not like I'm looking and going, oh, I know that school or that player.
What did you pick based on the colors, based on the mascots, based on the names?
I really picked the folks. So typically end up with like a 3 or a 4, 5 going through into sort of the final brackets, which usually this year, from what I can get up as well. In terms of the top 2 seeds going through for the most part. So it's been quite exciting. Wake up to miss the results. Cool.
So yeah, that's true. That's true. You're not quite in the future, but you are ahead of us a day. This is Monday for you, correct?
40 a.m. So the future is looking bright.
Okay.
If you want to call it that.
The future is looking bright. I don't know though if it's looking bright for Ignition. The last we all saw during second half, y'all were down, and Ignition is a 1 seed. So speaking of, you may not have even picked yourself to win if it was this bracket. Would you have had yourself go? You're a 1 seed in the tournament. Would you be going as far as the Final Four?
I represent. So I'd probably make an exception for our team, but I don't know. Anything can happen in the second half. So that's also representative of an underdog, right? When you're down at halftime, and come back and kick some butt. So fingers crossed.
No doubt.
Fingers crossed.
No disrespect to our opponents.
I'm hoping we win.
Well, honestly, if the past history repeats itself, there could be some upsets. We have an underdog in our story. The Uncat is the underdog. That's the Cinderella of this tournament. That's who you're going up against. and they have been strong. So don't feel too bad if they end up taking you out. They're 10 seed going up for the Final Four here in our first ever ABC tournament. So the underdog story continues, possibly, or you have upset their run and they are going home. They should go home with their heads held high if they do, because again, this is the big boys playground right now, right? So also, which we would be speaking of, Cloud Accounting Podcast, another number 1 seed going up against a 3 seed, Jason Stats. What do you think of that matchup, Guy?
Well, I mean, it's hard to understand
When it comes to this, and
its popularity engagement, right? So I think Stats has got
resonates.
with a particular crew who may guess, which means they're probably more likely to engage in voting.
Maybe him perhaps throwing upset over
the well-known Lyrium on the other side. So
Yeah. Well, Byron, going into that one, did you have any predictions? Heads up.
Man, I wasn't sure, to be honest, because Stats had been fairly quiet.
He was so quiet.
Yeah.
So quiet up until the second half.
Yeah, and we've seen, and I think Uncat has proven that like good promotion is the way to the finish line, and so I kind of anticipated Cloud, but I wasn't sure, and of course
They came into the tournament the overall 1 seed,
Yeah.
like the number 1 overall tournament,
Oh,
most nominations
by
coming
far
into
the
it.
most nominations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
More
Yeah,
nominations than
but-
Ignition. Ignition did get a lot of nominations.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's just you don't know who's going to show up and who's actually going to vote, and
Who's going to be hitting the
it's
threes? Ooh, this
so
was
hard to anticipate.
so. Then on the other side of the same coin is Earmark and Future Firm. Now, Guy, you guys have had a lot of collaboration with Future Firm. That's how I found out about Future Firm. There's templates from Future Firm in my Ignition. So that's actually, I think that might have been one of the first times, or I could have heard about it from Cloud Accounting Podcast, because I'm pretty sure they have mentioned it there too. So either way, that is going up against Blake's and David's Earmark, another fairly new platform. What do you think of that matchup? Earmark's the 1 seed.
It's sole
mind you.
commentary over.
Oh, was on a future fit.
Could be doing some underground guerrilla marketing method,
People, their team members and getting them.
and you would have no idea. It's all about behind that standpoint. Obviously, Earmark has a platform.
Listen to whatever you want. So who knows what's
Subliminal messaging there. Ads in between on the shows. Anything could be happening, and we would have no idea.
So
I think it's going to be a tight race. It's going to come right down to your point earlier, who's been doing the sort of little
things. You don't get too loud
because any competition.
Getting their wives to
Byron's
vote too, like people getting their friends.
It's just
Knocking on doors.
not on the internet.
we're just trying to get as many people
Exactly.
In the door.
right? Build the community.
In some ways, you're going to benefit from this too, because y'all are sponsoring the whole tournament. So you're one of the sponsors. So speaking of, a nod to our sponsors, Ignition and Relay, who's basically funding this whole tournament, at least funding the prize. This is a big prize too we're giving away here. Trip for 2 to Hawaii. Even if you're in, well, we're doing the flight from LA to Hawaii, since anybody in the world could win, basically. We didn't want to limit it. So if you won, Guy, I don't know if you voted in here, you could potentially win. Would that be a conflict of interest if you won?
Yeah.
100%.
Internally, no one's allowed to vote. It's
Oh,
got
really?
nothing to do with the team size of Ignition. Yeah.
Dope. Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
guess that's why we didn't see any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have flurries. We don't have Ignition. Maybe our might have had one person test out to see how the whole thing.
Well, we weren't going to let it happen anyway. We weren't going to let you guys win internally. You could win the bracket challenge. You could actually win this week up against Uncat. That's possible because that has nothing to do with any of this, or at least that doesn't have anything to do with the prize. So that was just to be made clear to everybody. You guys winning the
Don't get me
tournament
wrong,
doesn't mean
we
you're going to Hawaii.
Let's go live. So it's not
With
really.
the issue here, the issue.
Well, you know what you can do?
I'm
You
like
can throw your
playing fairly.
conference around there. Yeah, the Ignition conference can be in Hawaii. It's sort of like a midpoint for you, right?
That's probably true.
I'm not saying like it to anyone who's on the line, but it's only about a 10-hour flight. And
20, depending on which
which coast we're talking about.
I'd be happy to join. I could do my rap at your conference in Hawaii. So we'll chat later about that. We got one other matchup. I was actually talking to my buddy Will yesterday of Gusto and Slack. Either you guys have an opinion on that one? I mean, again, this is like two things that don't have anything to do with each other going up against each other. So it's all going to come down to who's got the supporters, right?
Yeah. I don't thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the one thing that we talked about going into this round was the fact that Slack is probably the more widely known, widely used utility over Gusto, but we also know Gusto has like real love. I mean, they have a following. So going into it, I wasn't very confident one way or the other. I kind of thought maybe Slack would have the edge just based on the number of people who interact with Slack, but you know, I also considered it a coin toss.
A coin toss. I like that
Coin
too. That's a
toss.
no. That's what we do at the ABC tournament. We do coin tosses. So let's reveal that one first. Then we're gonna go ahead and reveal these. Leary could come in right in the middle of his reveal, but we'll see if he even joins. I don't even know if I got any messages from him. Maybe no. All right. Well, we are gonna have a later guest too. Randy Crabtree's gonna join us. Randy's watching, so Randy, happy to have you join whenever now at this point because Leary's missed his little 10-minute window that he said he was going to have. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and present the scores. Let's see. What happened here? I can't reveal my screen. What do we got going on here? Screen. Here we go. All right. Sorry for the delay again. Here we go. The results of the Elite Eight. Gusto is going to the Final Four of the first ever Accountant Bracket Challenge. Our first reveal of the night. 175, 145. It was never really that close. This matchup was pretty much decided from the beginning, from the early onset. Gusto had the lead, never lost the lead, never got that close. They were even. Do you want to go ahead and reveal what happened in the beginning of this tournament too? Like in this round?
With Gusto and
Yeah.
Slack or
Yeah, wasn't it Gusto Slack?
Oh yeah.
Gusto had a
So-
handicap. Randy Crabtree joining us all the way from Chicago. What's up, homie?
Hey, I'm here. Who did I miss? Who won? Did we say that already?
We just revealed Gusto beat Slack, and you came in at perfect time because you were the one who revealed to me what the issue was during this round of voting. So I get a text. I'm at Trevor Noah's show on Monday night, and I get a text from Randy Crabtree, and he says, "Are you sure that Gusto didn't make it to the Elite Eight? I'm pretty sure Gusto made it to the Elite Eight, and you've got Bill on there." So for the whole day, because this was at night on Monday, for the whole day, we actually accidentally had Bill going into the Elite Eight on the brackets, and people were actually voting for Bill, or they could have voted for Slack. Either way, it was the wrong matchup for almost the whole day. So then Byron swoops in.
Yeah, and I basically wiped out all those initial votes for Slack and Bill because that was the wrong matchup, and I reached out to everybody who had voted for them and basically just said, I done fucked up. Revote, which everybody
Revote.
did, and yeah, so it's and I watched it. I'm pretty sure the large majority of those who voted initially did re-vote. So we captured those, but there was a little bit of a snafu.
Wow.
But at
Thank you,
the end, I
Randy,
mean,
for pointing
Well, you
that,
got it
giving that,
fixed.
bringing that to our attention.
You got it fixed, which is
Gusto
cool.
still won
I
at the end of the
had
day.
faith in Byron that this would happen, so we're good.
I appreciate that, but I didn't have faith when I got the message from Scott. I'm like, the old guy doesn't know how to use the system. And then
It
I
was the
was
second
like,
time Randy
oh,
had issues with our system, though, and he
I
wasn't the
was
only
like,
person
man,
having issues.
and I say that being another old guy, totally acknowledging that. But as soon as I logged in, I was like, oops, yeah, he's right. He is right. That's not supposed to be Bill. William was already out.
William was out.
But
Shout out to Will Lopez,
Wait.
but yeah, Iowa.
Iowa basketball, women playing right now. I'm got another screen watching Iowa basketball. So
All right. Well, this is all sports all
Nice.
day
Championship.
at Accounting High. All sports all day. We can talk about anything.
Yeah,
Guy
well,
won his bracket
and-
challenge.
it's
At
not
Ignition.
a well-known logo, but this is San Diego State here on my hat because my daughter's a San Diego State.
oh
grad.
wow, all right. Well, that's pretty cool too. All right, so back to the bracket challenge. Gusto, I just came in. Gusto moves on.
Gusto
what we
moves on
found
to
out?
the Final Four, the first Final Four slot revealed. I wish I could toggle between the two and show like who made it to the Final Four, but we'll get to that. We'll show the whole bracket and their journey to the Final Four. Gusto made it. Slack's out, but Slack had a great run as an 11 seed. Sad to see you go. Honestly, you had nobody at the apps like pushing this, so that they came all on their own and showed up and made it to the Elite Eight. That's commendable. That's great. Bye-bye. Peace out, Slack. All right. Are we ready to move on to the other? Randy, what do you got to say? Because we just talked about the matchups. I would like to hear your opinions here.
Well, so I had Gusto winning this. I had a feeling that they would. It's funny. Just about everything that we're looking at here in the final eight, I have some connection to. So it's kind of cool to watch this. And Gusto, one of my businesses is using for payroll. So, but yeah, I just with Will out there being a great guy and promoting Gusto and being the face of it, at least in my mind, I had a feeling they had a good chance to move on.
Yeah,
Especially because they are accounting related, where Slack is not specifically accounting related.
Yeah. Well, and this was actually the business application bracket. So this is the one. This is not the bracket that Ignition and Guy was in. Guy was in the practice bracket, but this was more for general software that could be used by any business owner. Specifically, accountants would use this, or it would be more of a widely used among the accountants because they were nominated, right? That's how they got in anyway.
Yeah. We use Slack for another one of my businesses, the Beer Temple, which you've been to.
Yeah.
Slack is our communication method there, and it's awesome.
Guy, you guys, so I have a Slack story. I've been using Slack since early days, since it first came out, like years ago. Loved it, used it all the time. I was all in. And then I would get invited to other Slack groups too. So it wasn't just our office, but then I'm getting invited to Zeros because they're partner council. So I'm in an XPAC Slack. Then I get invited to an Ignition Slack. So I'm in one Ignition Slack once. I forgot how I ended up in two different Ignition Slacks among 13 others that I've been invited to. And at some point a couple years ago, I just had enough. I had too much. It was just coming at me from all angles. Every time I went into my email, every time I went into Slack, everything would be talking to me. And I needed to respond to everything all at once. And it was too much for me. And I let it all go. So you guys have probably heard my email and Slack story. I don't even use it anymore. But it's obviously taken on by storm. Guy, you guys have been probably using Slack since early days.
I have no idea how long.
We're using something called HipChat before, which many of you probably have never heard of, but Atlassian
to the Slack.
Influence running Jira, all that stuff internally at Ignition and over at my accounting firm.
Moving a whole lot over to Slack when that's sort of easy
Good
to
to use, frankly. So I think we were a little bit reluctant because like, will it be better? And then
yeah, sure.
it,
switch.
so I don't know what you put up if we've got time, but yeah.
Well, what I loved about Ignition Slack was it taught me all the Slack tricks. So you guys were one of the first Slacks that I saw using custom emojis. So then I learned how to do it because I would see Reed and all of them, just everybody's going crazy. It was so like grassroots, so like you guys were like there were no rules in that Slack. People were doing anything. It was so much fun. They were like spinning things around, like making emojis and having things spin, like just heads spinning. It was awesome. So then I started doing it in other Slack groups. I would see some Slack groups though were limited on who would let you make emojis and who would let you add certain things. Custom emojis. And yeah, but Ignition was the one who taught me all the tricks, all the Slack tricks. So
Well,
You know,
and
one more.
when you're surrounded by
Sorry, Guy,
engineers.
go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was going to say when you
that's how they communicate.
primarily asynchronous communication, typically in written form, and they want to get expressive without talking.
Things start to happen and they figure out
All
all
the
the
tricks, the shortcuts,
connect
all the things. So I feel like we're unfair advantage because you've got people way more technical and you have mortals. Disrespect, you know, who can go and read the code and figure out how to hack it and change it up. So anyway,
that's what.
experience, even though you don't use it anymore.
Well, speaking of code, though, Byron is a very big Slack proponent. Byron coded our whole app to run this tournament, but Byron's been using Slack as an OG for a while. Accounting Salon is basically built on Slack. Is that right? Like, that's the center, and I'm not even ever in there, but isn't that like?
Yeah, I mean that's our community where we collaborate, and I mean Slack is just it's such a powerful tool, you know, and the ability to I won an accounting salon Zap competition with Heather Sattler. We one of the things we did is we built a custom integration between Deer Inventory and Slack. So you could request updates on orders right within Slack. Like there's so much cool shit you can do with it. But you know, for anybody who's never like looked at the Slack story, they were actually originally a gaming software company, and Slack was just an internal tool they built for themselves, and their game flopped. It was terrible, and they went back to the drawing board to figure out like what are we going to do. And somebody was like, well, we built this cool collaboration tool, like maybe we can do something with that. And then Slack was born. So it's kind of like an accident, and it's just it's badass. I love it.
It's a happy accident. I always had trouble when I was making the bracket with Slack to show their colors because they have 4 colors though. I don't know if that's a brilliant branding choice or poor branding to have so many colors. I mean, Google does it and they do it successfully. I think you got to be a baller to use 4 colors in your branding. You got to be big.
They've got confidence.
Speaking of branding, guys, second episode of this show was right before the rebrand, right before the big practice dropping an entire word from your name, changing your identity, or you're evolving as a company. It's in full force now. I don't even use pi, and when I talk about Ignition, I don't say PI. I don't use that acronym or that symbol anymore for you guys. It's RIP, and I had just kind of got the hang of it by the time you changed. But Ignition app did not make it into the Final Four.
The uncat grassroots efforts are just undeniable. I mean, even this score here was a Saturday rally.
They are good for 300 points around. I'll tell you, they are good for 300 votes around.
because it was close yesterday. It was close at the beginning of the day. I think
It was close. It was 180 something to 201 or I don't know. They rallied again on Saturday.
It really.
Randy, what do you got to say?
Where are they? So I went and looked on just Twitter today. I was trying to figure out where are they doing this promotion, and I didn't see much. So are they? Is it just all internally they're promoting this? It's just they send out emails to all their users. Any clue where they're rallying from?
Yeah, they're doing it everywhere.
I think they're going to retirement communities and just asking people to sign up.
I would think that it's soccer games. Like David Lee was at a soccer game. Maybe they're just going around the soccer game, getting everybody to sign up and vote. I have no idea. But every Saturday, boom, Uncat clears it. Like they beat QuickBooks. That was the biggest upset.
That's crazy. I thought they were going to win it all. QuickBooks.
And that was the one that I messed up and thought that they lost to Excel because it was so close.
Yep.
The Excel matchup. Oof. Uncat guy, had you heard of Uncat prior to this?
No.
They've just unseated you.
Down under. That's okay. There's always a
This again.
so huge congratulations.
Obviously, and you guys still will probably come in strong. You'll still come in strong, though. I mean, it's very impressive run that Ignition had. They were one of the few ones. Well, just the one favored one seed in that bracket, but oof, you guys stomped everybody in the practice bracket. But here comes Uncat and the books bracket. An underdog, Uncat the underdog, comes in strong again. Oof. I'm definitely having them on next week.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. And one of the guys was on. Is he on the YouTube chat today? I know he was the last couple.
Jared
weeks,
is. What's up, Jared? You guys rocked it again.
Congratulations.
Maybe you can. All right, they have thousands of users, to tens of thousands of users. So, local newsletters were also where we are also based, friends and family, etc. I figured there got to be some kind of like grassroots going on here. It's dope. Like this is the biggest like storyline from the tournament is like it's the picture. It's the perfect story. Like you couldn't have scripted this better. It's the
underdog story.
But they're also kind of like a mascot, Uncat, like Wildcats. You know, the Uncat. They're like the mascot that you would pick. So maybe people were picking them because they liked the branding or they liked the whole cat thing, right?
Or the question mark, as you said on its side, or somebody said last week.
That's all I see now. I used to see a cat tail. All I see is I used to just see it as a.
It is a question mark. You saw the cattail.
That's what I saw. Yeah, I don't see that anymore. All I see is the question mark, and I love the question mark. I mean, Guy, you guys have great branding too. Don't get me wrong. The Spark, we went on for your episode at least 20 minutes talking about just the Spark. You guys did a great run, but didn't even clear. Honestly, your votes here would have beat Gusto. So you would have beat Gusto head to head in this round. You would have beat Slack for sure, and possibly other matchups too. So that's a strong showing. You just lost to a strong opponent. Oof. Uncat, the darling of the year.
And
Who's to the Uncat team? We'll come.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I love your story though too. We gotta say that Uncat may get a wrap. I think that's what one of the winners is gonna get here is a custom wrap for winning this tournament, and I think Uncat just got a wrap. I don't know. I'm teasing that. It may or may not be, but the champion of this tournament may end up getting a wrap.
Teams to announce in the final four.
2 more to reveal. Yeah. Well, let's honestly, I've already called out Earmark on a wrap and Jason Stats on a wrap. So if that's any hint of what we're about to reveal, I don't know, but they've already gotten wraps. So Ignition's already kind of gotten a wrap too, at least called out in a wrap. They may get their own wrap at some point, someday too. Let's go to this next round. This matchup here that we're about to reveal is a heated one. The lead changed several times. Byron, how many times did this lead change? Back and forth.
It was just nuts. It was watching it live. I couldn't take my eyes off it. I had it on the voting results on one monitor, and I'm just watching it.
It was like a TV show. It was like a sporting event.
It was like a basketball game, like the last minute of a basketball game where it's like going back and forth, and it was, it was.
This was like Carolina Duke game. This was like a Carolina Duke game. Now the matchup that we're referring to is the Earmark Future Firm matchup. The 6 seed Future Firm against the 1 seed Earmark.
Oh,
Future Firm advances to the Final Four. Future Firm to the Final Four. F, 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 F. Peace out, E. Peace out, Green. We're going home, Blake. I'm sorry. You put up a great run, a great fight. I don't know if it was a dooming of being on the show. Maybe being on here means that you end up going home, right?
well, I'm on after we got kicked out. So,
but Guy,
it
it was not planned. Guy, I thought
that's
Guy might
true.
win it. I thought they might win their matchup and be going to the Final Four. I thought, yeah, well, that's so yeah, Future Firm. We're gonna have to have Ryan on next week.
Oh, you don't want. He's not going to want to go on if he knows he's going to get bumped off if he's on the show. So
He's going up against Stats. I'm gonna try to get Stats on too. I'll try to get them both on.
wait, did you just tease or give us the results of the next dude? All right, so
nobody heard that. Nobody saw that. Let's you caught it. These two other guys didn't even catch it. They were just like, well, what? I'm sorry. Let's just talk about this one first.
Yes.
So nobody heard that. David Leary's not even here. So, but let's just let this one sink in, because Earmark at the beginning of the second half, they were pulling away. I think Earmark was up by 8-10 votes come sometime Thursday. And then that was after the second half. And then Future Firm just started creeping, got close again, got further away, and they never lost that lead after that 24 hours mark. Future Firm never lost the lead.
Yeah, well, you know what? I saw Ryan promoting this. Everybody in the Final 8 was promoting. It's getting exciting. They're at the point like, hey, we can win, and he was promoting it. I'm sure that helped a lot, and it's well deserved. I mean, he does a great job. I'm actually hoping Ryan's going to be at our conference in August, but that's his plan. I'm hoping it's my plan too. So we're working on that right now.
Dope. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm definitely hoping we have Ryan on. I've already spoken of my love for his branding. I do like Earmark's branding too. Don't get me wrong. But Future Firm's just slick. He doesn't mess around with the colors. He's all straight black and white. Fire with the 2 F's facing each other. Future Firm,
Lazanis is on the stream. He got the results.
Lazanis is on the stream. He was trying to get early results earlier. He was like, should I be promoting it this week? I said, you're gonna have to see the live stream.
He is a promoter for sure. Congratulations, Ryan.
Congratulations, Ryan. I'm so happy for you, man. This is a 6 seed advancing to the Final Four. That is so dope. I know that I know that Ryan's been excited about this. I was excited, really excited about this when I first had the idea, and I wanted to talk to him about it just because I know that he does things like this and his mind thinks similarly. So I was so excited. It was right before he was leaving for Indonesia, so he didn't really have time to chat about it. But he's back, and he's promoting it, and he's going to the Final Four. That's dope.
That's awesome.
Guy, care to comment?
Earmark. Okay, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Earmark too, but yeah.
No, I've known Ryan for
I will not. I would say since
2012, 2013. So huge shout out to my friend Nate. Bone marrow's on you. Next time I'm in town
for the win. Looking forward to it, mate.
The bone marrow.
Sorry for interrupting.
Is that what you?
So spoiler alert. So when we launched in Canada, Having met Ryan a bunch of times and not knowing as many others as I would have, Ryan was a logical choice to be our CPA or our accountant. And so I occasionally visit Montreal, Real Ventures, who backed up, based out of there. And so I'd catch up with Ryan. I was like, let's go to dinner.
Expecting like a burger joint.
Because we're scrappy stuff. And yeah, our lovely accounting partner Ryan takes me to
Canadian, somewhat fancy pants.
Black and white tablecloth kind of joint, and introduces me to bone marrow, which apparently is a special.
And so every time
Sense.
it's kind of what we've had as sort of the tradition.
So looking
Soon, hope you enjoyed your day.
Guy, you're not a fancy pants type person. I never see you even with a collar on. So what did you wear at that restaurant?
I do like nice things. Oh, I didn't know we were. So I was probably actually
A
a
jumper.
or a hoodie or a sweater, whatever. Makes no sense. And
A
probably
hoodie in a
everything
French
that I owned.
restaurant. I'm sure that went over well. Yeah.
I think I had a leather jacket over the top.
I'm pretty sure it was snowing outside, so I had being from Australia where it doesn't dip below kind of like 50.
Yeah.
But,
Everything I owned with a nice leather jacket on top was probably what I had as I walked in, and then I stripped down to a t-shirt is probably what most likely happened.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Randy, it's your turn.
My turn on what?
I don't know. You've been wanting to say something. You've been anxious.
What? Well, yeah, I just like to talk. So no,
I know.
I'd rather hear all you talk. But what I was going to say, and again, I already said congrats to Ryan, and he does a great job. He's prolific with putting out information.
Prolific is the word. Blake, speaking of prolific, Blake uses that word a lot.
Does he?
Blake's prolific as well.
Well, so Blake, when he started Earmark, so when we started the Unique CPA podcast 3.5 years ago, I wanted to make it available for CPE, and I was too lazy to do it. And then
Sure.
when Blake came out with that, I actually saw Terrell Turner on there I knew Terrell already, but when I saw Terrell's show on Earmark, or he promoted it, I'm like, oh man, that is awesome. I don't have to deal with any of this now. I can just talk to Blake and get it out there and get it available for CPE. So in the year, or whatever it's been now, I mean, they've done outstanding. I mean, they've basically, taken over a ton of CPE. So
Funny
congratulations to them.
Funny
Yep.
story. Speaking of David Leary, I was keeping his seat warm while on the time that you first started using Earmark for
I remember
Unique
that.
CPA. I set some of that up, right? Didn't I? Was
Yes, you did.
I actually got a little commission from that sale. That was something that I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, I was working the sales department there.
You were my point of contact.
There we go.
And-
yeah, you're
and
still
it
my
is
point of
so
contact.
much- and I was gonna say it's so much better now with David there. No,
I'm sure it is. Obviously, he's keeping things on the rails here. He did not make it
Checks
to
his
this call,
email.
but I know he checks his email. Maybe I don't check my email. That's for damn sure.
I'm not sure David does either, actually. So
We're so much alike. I think that's also why he's making this hard to get on here, because we have not been in the same place twice on this show. So maybe that's a thing.
maybe you're the same person.
Hey, we're not revealing anything else here. This is all just teased. This has all been teased. So yeah, Earmark, peace out. Better luck next year, you guys. We're a 1 seed. Blake, sorry to see you go. I don't know what else to say, man. Future firm, go into the Final Four. Are we ready to reveal this next one?
Oh, reveal it now, huh?
Oh man, what a
Oh man,
3 votes.
3
that was close.
votes. They almost pulled it out in the end, and I thought they were going to. That came in here with the most votes. What's up, Deb? I miss Deborah. I see her in the chat. Yeah.
Yep.
Earmark next year. Still a great run making it to the Elite Eight, but I just wanted to shout out to Deborah. She's ops manager there. I worked closely with her when I was at Earmark. I call her Debs, but yep. This one. So speaking of Deborah, she has been working with David and Blake longer than any of us have probably even known them. She was doing stuff for them early cloud accounting podcast days. So it was awesome to see the possibility of Blake and David going up against Blake and David in the Final Four. That timeline did not happen. Stats predicted that we were in the wrong timeline. I don't know, like, I forgot what he said in his email, but he was talking about the timelines, and that timeline does not exist because the final is 171 Jason Stats to 168 Cloud Accounting Podcast. Guy, Ignition would have beat both of these teams. Ignition had 190.
It's okay. We're not in the same kind
I
of
know,
category
I
of
know.
bracket, right?
Not yet. Not yet. It's not the championship.
I've been to all three. You just listed off. A big fan of all of them. So I'm happy we didn't have to go head to head.
These are all stars. I gotta say, like the final everything is all stars here. Like just the fact that Stats went up against Clonic Podcast means that they both made it out of their respective brackets. Same as Earmark and Future Firm. They all were in other brackets with 8 other teams. So Future Firm passed everybody in the community bracket. Jason Stats realized was in the community bracket, which could have made it out of there too. Earmark made it past all of the other education apps and other education platforms. Cloud Accounting Podcast beat Accounting High in the Sweet 16. So Jason Stats advances to the Final Four. We have our Final Four revealed. That's it's on another screen here. Let me go there. Let's just first talk about this one. Yeah, let's talk about this one.
Yeah, was this the first time Jason promoted it? I didn't notice him promoting other
He saved his
rounds.
energy. He saved his energy until he needed it. And the minute he had a matchup that he was losing revealed was when he went on the offensive. He sat there and he took his rest. He didn't need to over promote it. He was quiet, right? Like he saved his energy. This way he's got plenty of gas in the tank to go up against Lozanis. I think he's the favorite for the tournament now.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on promotion. Ryan's pretty good at promoting things, so we shall see here.
We shall see.
It's going to be an interesting matchup, though, for sure.
Wow, and they are close. Like they are pals, and they've been joking at the whole thing because even Stats in his email and his tweet, he says he assumed that Earmark was going to win, and Ryan said, "Whoop, what about me?" He raised his head. He's like, that race is not over yet either." So I don't know if that was already early advance where he's taking the gloves off, but this is going to be a close one. But Cloud Accounting Podcast still came in with Byron. How many nominations did they receive compared to everybody else?
Oh, I don't even remember. I mean,
probably in the 60s.
Yeah, it was the way far ahead leader.
For reference, Ignition was a 1 seed, and they had maybe 20 something, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking.
It was like they were the top 1 seed of everybody. Randy was actually a close second with nominations. So whatever Randy had, it was like he was second to Cloud Accounting Podcast. 52. Okay. So Randy had like 48, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, you were the second seed in the podcast bracket, but because it was the podcast bracket, that's why you weren't a higher seed, because it was 2 podcasts that made it with the most nominations.
Right. And then I had to go against Accounting High, which I knew would be my downfall.
Yeah, well, I also was our downfall going up against Cloud Accounting Podcast. They stomped us, so we would have got stomped by anybody here. Cheers to Jason Stats for coming in and you said it, Byron. You said give him some time. He hasn't made a video about this though. He hasn't actually really promoted it besides a couple of words, which is still impressive as hell. That he just had 1 tweet and 1 email and came out with the win. And he was down big at the half. Big. It was like early voting was like in the 30s to the 60s, and then it was just like not even close at the half. Forgot what it was. And then I don't know at what point he got the lead, but I know that the night of Thursday, I texted him and I'm like, "You're still down by like 10, but it's closer. You got more votes today." Or he was down by 15, I think, on Thursday. It's like it's close though. You got more votes today. He's like, "I got a tweet going out tomorrow," and then the next day, once he got close, got the lead, it was like Cloud was playing catch up the whole time. 3 votes.
3 votes. I mean, that's pretty extraordinary at what is that? 340 votes. So 1%.
1%
is the difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we've got a request to see the breakfast bracket. Now,
Ooh.
Byron, I don't know what we're gonna do here. Are we revealing the breakfast bracket as as like this is it where they're going to the final, or are we gonna leave it open for voting still? Because there's a heated I think we need some more votes for the breakfast bracket.
oh, this is
Is it closed?
I mean, right now all voting is closed.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, interesting. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I
let's
don't know.
do it. Do we want to go ahead and reveal? Because I was thinking maybe they need some more time. It was a decisive victory for. I'm gonna go ahead and
there
reveal
were a
it.
couple of tight ones.
I'm gonna reveal it.
But,
It was a decisive victory for. Drum roll, please. Maybe we can still leave it open, but let's say this is how it stands right now. It was a victory for Waffles. Waffles showed up in the
Really?
pancakes versus waffles
pretty,
match
pretty commandingly.
commandingly, and then, as we'll see, like already Waffles lost to French Toast if we left that open like we did with the first two. We just left 1 and 2 round voting open for both rounds.
Which, I mean, French Toast had a lot of
More
love
votes than anybody
for
else.
the-
That's
I
my
mean,
favorite of the 3. If you're going to vote the 3, everybody would say pancakes versus waffles, and I said, "Where's French Toast?"
Cold pizza was just a disaster. They didn't even show up.
Guy, you got any opinions on breakfast down under?
I think we'd probably go for smashed avocado on toast, which is
That's what I had this morning.
And yeah,
Typically, what I have every day. Yeah.
that would win by a country mile, would be my guess. And I don't think I'm going to.
By a country mile for your country, not for this country. For a country mile in your country.
There's no fruit on there. I feel like the better one for down under would actually be what kind of coffee do you take?
There's some fruit on the French toast plate. There's some fruit on the French toast plate. I made sure of it, but not on the waffles or pancakes.
I would say a flat white.
Would probably take out the coffee. Because I don't know you can eat breakfast without coffee. I'm not sure that's allowed down here.
I feel you. Flat white. Randy?
I agree.
What is
Unless
flat
it's a
white?
Bloody Mary.
It's like a coffee.
Okay. Yeah, no. So I agree with Guy on the I have avocado toast with a fried egg on it 3 days a week probably, and the rest of the time cereal. But in here, bacon and eggs is my thing.
Well, bacon and eggs also another decisive victory against biscuits and gravy, which got a lot of love on socials, but not a lot of love in the votes.
That was so disappointing. I'm convinced there's a lot of people in this world who've never had biscuits and gravy.
Because it doesn't look appetizing.
So
You have or have not, Guy?
So they're legally allowed to serve it down here, mate.
Wow. Wow. That's the thing. Is a lot of people won't try it too because he's throwing in jabs. All right. Well, but although for real, like biscuits and gravy is an acquired taste because I've had it and it's always hit or miss with me. Like I'm just like I don't know if I like the texture. I don't know if I like the idea of just eating right into a biscuit with gravy, and I don't know what's in the gravy. What is it? Lard?
just goodness. I would
Flour?
drink the gravy. It's sausage.
If you travel as
and-
much as me, I'm sorry, Byron. It is a staple at a lot of hotels in the morning, so you see it there. I don't grab it often, but you see it often.
Soggy
Every time.
biscuits. That's what I think
Every
when I see that.
It's
See, how
well,
long were
and
they sitting there?
I don't know how many people are familiar with SOS. So I grew up not actually eating biscuits and gravy, but I was eating shit on a shingle, SOS, which is basically toast with the same gravy, but it's got like ham or something in it instead of sausage.
And they call it shit on a shingle and you eat it?
Shit on a shingle. Yeah, look it up. SOS. And
SOS is not on this breakfast bracket. It does
Yeah.
sound appetizing. Not in the name, in the
it is
description.
tasty.
In the description. So this is this was the big reveal was it wasn't even close with waffles versus pancakes. I don't know why that's a heated debate. Maybe because pancakes are just seem to be well like represented overall, but waffles is always the favorite. I would probably, if I had to choose between the two, waffles just seem a little bit more interesting to me.
It's the crispiness. It's a
Yeah.
little texture to it instead of just soft, soaking up the gravy and just softer. The waffles kind of holds its crispness a little bit. I think that's a big part of it for me.
Halfway through the plate, waffles still taste pretty good, but pancakes, you're already getting tired of it halfway through the plate.
Yep.
So it's also worth noting the breakfast sandwich and the burrito was only a 2-vote differential.
That is true. I
that
thought it was
was
one. It was only
tight.
two. Yeah. That was the
Super
tightest
tight.
race of all. That was the closest matchup of any matchup we've had. Breakfast sandwich, breakfast burrito. I think they are very similar in what they are. I don't know if I have a preference, to be honest. I like them both.
Burrito.
Burrito. Guy, have you ever had a breakfast burrito?
Yeah, I've had breakfast sandwich, breakfast burrito.
I feel like we're used to eating
Breakfast
all
taco?
night. Yeah, I have one of those too. I would say breakfast sandwich.
Way more keen to what I crave.
Similar to home. So I'd go for breakfast.
I mean, on a good
Breakfast
English
sandwich.
muffin, it's kind of hard to beat.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I think McDonald's basically invented the breakfast sandwich. I don't know if they really did, but every time I see one, I think of a McMuffin.
Egg McMuffin,
Yeah.
crave some of those all the time.
McDonald's also,
Sandwich or
like,
McMuffin.
when I still was eating McDonald's, they had the McGriddle. I know they still have it. I just haven't eaten McDonald's in years. But man, that McGriddle was so good. It was pancakes as the, and so I tweeted an image of pancake tacos at Flying Biscuit. They have it's like it's we were at Flying Biscuit this morning, and I know Brian thought breakfast tacos should be on here as its own. I see breakfast burrito and breakfast tacos as the same thing, but now that I think about it, the McGriddle is like the ultimate, right? You've got pancakes and eggs and bacon and everything in the middle of the pancakes. That's like all in one. That's the ultimate. The pancake taco. I don't know. I might vote for that if I had the option to like eat anything. I didn't eat it today because I can't eat that kind of food. But oof, look good.
So you mentioned McDonald's, the Egg McMuffin.
Sure.
You're all too young probably, but when it first came out, it had jelly on it. Do you recall that? Do you guys remember that?
No.
Definitely not.
I
Nope.
would
Yeah,
not
it was
eat
the
that.
original version had jelly
Showing
on
your
it,
age
so-
here, Randy.
Yeah,
Showing your
exactly.
age.
See, Byron, you're not that old. I'm the old one.
You got me. You got me.
I
on
can
that
see
one.
Guy liking that because there's fruit again. Fruit made
There
another
you go,
appearance. Your jam.
I'm just not.
All right.
I'm looking to hate on it, but
Yeah, I appreciate it.
If you got it at a fancy French restaurant, you'd probably try it. Let's just say. With your bone marrow, here's some jam.
I'd be so confused if they pulled that out at the bone marrow restaurant.
cafe are a bit.
If I'm being honest.
I don't know. I could see them serving some kind of mint jelly with a bone marrow dish at a French restaurant. So you would get jelly, but it would just be a minty type one. All right, let's scroll back and reveal this bracket itself here. The journeys, the failures, not the failures. Honestly, everybody here is amazing because they made it into the bracket. Like the the teams that made it, you could have never guessed. This would have been one of those if everybody filled the bracket out on the front end. At this point, nobody would have a correct bracket. Uncat spoils it all, right? Nobody foresee this unless it was Uncat employees. It would be like, fans of the team that made it to the Final Four saying, "I picked them," right?
It's like the NCAA tournament right now. No one seeds there. Nobody's a one seed, right?
No one seeds. All the one seeds upsetted. All
No one
three.
seeds in the Final Four. Yeah.
All three in the Elite Eight. The first one seed to make it out was Pluto, which was the first round. So that was one of those like 16, the first time in the ABC tournament. This was the first time ever a 16 seed upset a one seed. All the others handedly just made it through their brackets. Ignition, I thought, was the favorite to make it to the championship. I thought Ignition would have taken Gusto. That was my prediction. I'm out. I just thought because it says Ignition on all of the images too, that people would just see it and recognize it and be like, "Oh, okay," and they would vote for you guys.
Well, in all fairness, if guys employees were allowed to vote, I think they'd be moving on.
Ooh, that is true. That is true. We will say that I never marked anything against it. I even told Amanda, y'all could vote. You guys should vote. Vote for Ignition because I see others voting too. So why not?
No, I like the fair play there, Guy.
I do too.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Right. It's not win at all costs. It's win because
I
you.
respect it.
Yeah,
I like underdogs.
and also
I'm surprised we were the first seed. But so.
yeah, it was a great run. You guys played rewind, handed rewind, and nothing necessary there. Like it was an unnecessary matchup to begin with because rewind barely made it into the tournament. We love rewind here, but nobody cares about actually backups. They want to get paid, so that wasn't really fair. Like anybody would pick Ignition over that. I'm kidding. Licio, another platform that had a lot of love.
Nobody cares about backups.
But Licio up against Ignition kind of made sense because Licio is going to do proposals if they don't already. So they're going to sort of be a competitor. So that would have made sense. Handed Licio, that wasn't even a matchup, I think. And then Ignition Carbon, two apps that I use at my firm that are very much like compatible together. There's integrations between the two. I know ours talk to each other. It might be a Zap that's doing it, or it might just be a built-in native. I think it's native. You guys are very close to Carbon, right?
Sorry, yeah. Both Aussie founders.
Help me figure out
How to kick off Ignition. He'd worked in software before I had him. Known the team the whole way along the journey. So,
good friends as companies.
and take the win. But I'm glad it was a hard-fought battle rather than how did you say
It was.
Rather than just like a whitewash.
You said something else.
I forgot what I said, but it wasn't a wash. It wasn't it was a close match. That wasn't you didn't you came in, you showed up though. I think you guys never lost the lead against Carbon. It was just close. Ignition and Uncat, you guys were winning most of the match. I think you were winning at halftime. Byron, is that correct?
I thought we were behind.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think it was close, definitely for a while there, but yeah.
Well, I'm excited to talk about Uncat's run because that they were the darling, but I also thought they could lose to Right Tool in the first round. That was a very close matchup. That was one of the closer ones because Right Tool, I think, was up, and it was so close up until the end. So everybody's had an interesting run here. this is on the education side of this though. Let's just say I could not call this matchup. Future Firm, Jason Stats in the Final Four. It's one that I would have loved to see if I was predicting like who would I want to see in the Final Four. It would have been like this is the story, this is the fairy tale. You have the potential of Blake going up against Blake in the Final Four, and both of them spoiled it.
Actually, Jason could have went up against himself at some point too. Wasn't he in here like 3 times or something?
He could have. He could have of several occasions. He could have next year. He could go up against 4 times with this Jason Daly show too.
Oh,
So
that's
like,
right.
he could end up being all over the bracket. He could pop up with an app too at some point. We never know with Stats. I think he's the he might be one of the favorites. Future Firm or Stats is any opinions, Byron? Any thoughts on this? You've been close.
I mean, it's going to be a battle, no doubt. I mean, it's just seeing the way the votes went there in the last round. I mean, I think these are 2 worthy competitors that you know are going to both be fighting hard for the win. So it's going to be interesting, and you know, if Gusto doesn't you know, put a little gusto into this tournament, I'm fairly confident what's going to happen in the matchup with Uncat, the way that they've been swinging in the final rounds.
The cat's been swinging from the tree. The cat, you know that picture of a cat just hanging on the tree branches, like hanging there.
Yes.
That is not what I think of when I think of Uncat. I think of a victorious cat. I think of like a wild cat or like a bobcat or like a like the big cats. That's when I think of Uncat. I think of the big cats like the lions and the tigers.
That's not what they use, though. I was looking at their website.
I know it's
today.
definitely not what they use.
No.
They should though. They should reconsider, right? Like let's just go big now. Now you guys have made it to the Final Four in the ABC tournament. Change up your mascot. Take a tiger.
I like the way they have it. I'm like, hey, you know, we're coming out of nowhere. We're the small guy or whatever here. We're the small cat, and then all of a sudden they just surprise everybody.
Oh yeah, unassuming,
Yep.
unassuming, and then they come out of the shadows as the Tiger King of the tournament, the Tiger King. Oh
Scott,
man,
did we have any prizes for this week that we were going?
we're gonna. Well, I already realized that we didn't call any. Let's just save them for next week since we're already this late into it.
Yeah.
I was
We
hoping
could-
that's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, we could do more prizes right now, but I think like it's more of a live thing. We got to
We'll
build
save
up
it
the
for
hype
next
for that.
week. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we will be pulling some more prizes. We got some more to be delivering. Guy, any thoughts, opinions on these crazy matchups here?
To the Final Four. In all honesty,
The heckle and
back from the sidelines. Typically, I'll miss some of
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like on the
being here. Oh, who's going to win?
less pressure right now on you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's on active marketing, based on what you guys have described, versus
It's marketing.
so
How much you get your customer.
customer base in. So, based on that, I think Uncat is going to make
Really depends.
defensive stats. Lazanis decide they want to go at it, or if one of them is off during the voting break.
That's the toss, the coin toss. So
Quite fine. Uncat has got the highest score today, right? So it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Really puts a lot of effort in that they're going to be unsafe.
I think they're gonna take the victory.
Definitely make me.
Yeah, you're gonna.
The champions.
That's
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's obviously what QuickBooks is saying. That's what Intuit's been saying. So, like, because we early on in this, both me and Byron thought, this is not going to even be fun if QuickBooks is in it. Like, we just thought QuickBooks was going to dominate everybody in this bracket. Like, how are we going to put them in it? And they're just going to take on everybody. That wasn't the case. So, talking about the marketing, you mentioned like passive, active, and all that. This has been, and I know I've said this before, this has been a lesson in marketing. This whole tournament, just so much to learn on if for a marketing experiments or like a marketing when you look at ignition, you guys have always had very like grassroots, but also like everywhere. Like it's sort of become ubiquitous with the accounting profession. I see ignition everywhere. There's other apps I do see everywhere too, but you guys have always had very very strategic and grassroots and decentralized marketing. I've always loved when I see what Ignition's doing because it's always like one of the cool kids too. They're always doing something different than everybody else and always doing like ways to stand out amongst like the next generation. So, Guy, do you care to speak on any of that? Like, what goes into these strategies?
Question. So first off, thankfully, and I think you've probably seen the progression.
Thing application.
So that about 2019 onwards. Definitely turned it up a notch. We've now got
That's about when the time when I
scenes.
found out about Ignition. Maybe no,
Exactly,
I'm kidding.
right?
I'm kidding. I was early days. No, I think I was there
Sure, right, that's
2018.
You have the adult
At that point,
so a couple of
we stem from a lot of experiences that I had,
particularly in the CPA, accounting, and bookkeeping market, where sold to they want to be provided information that's helpful.
with this community, all those sorts of things. And so,
So very much taking that approach, and I think the other one that we you can use Ignition to run your firm, and we hope
not just use it alone.
right like there's like oh yeah, paper forms and how you're running your firm. That's just not going to work. That's not optimal. So
Communities and making sure we're always
you know everything we do, we try and have other
Partnerships.
in on the mix, right? And help. And I think
typically we have a thing here called
tall
talk.
poppy syndrome. So we try not to carry a lot of ego.
We're talking about how
How
good
good you
you
are
are.
down here, people will.
Call it tall poppy syndrome. So
We're very much
Ooh.
there and be known everywhere, but not sort of trying to let's say be the rooster that's
fighting from the team in the competition.
like it's all or we don't. So I think that's probably why folks
Design has taken that.
and probably, and I hope this holds true, we're a little bit cheeky.
It's very much an Aussie term. I'm not sure how well
that
that
holds up in North. We
Yeah.
we care about good information. We care about our customers, our community, but
100% of the time.
and hopefully that shines through.
Well, you've inspired me a lot early days too. Just the way that you come across because you don't have an ego at all, and the way that you were on our first episode was just. I mean, even you coming on the first episode, this was like you were one of my first guests too, and I just asked, and you're across the pond, and we were a very very small show, and you're just like, sure, mate, and you hop on, and it was just like my first solo episode too. Just the conversation itself, I'm nervous as hell. And you're sitting there talking to me, telling me you're like the janitor, and that's why I'm the custodian at Accounting High because you said that. Like you said that on our episode, you were like, I'm just the janitor here at Ignition, and so I've always said I'm the custodian at Accounting High.
Well, happy to have a positive impact, and Byron, feel free to step in and if you're always picking up after Scotty.
He is. Oh yes, I don't. That's very true.
No,
That's very true. Touche.
That's awesome.
I remember it was like
setting
stuff
up right. So where possible, if people reach out and they've got good intentions, we'll sort of jump.
time and
If it's other stuff, because we've got things on the boil as always, as everyone does. But people
the early days and
had hustle, and it's kind of part of what got us to where we were, sleeping on couches, traveling around the world, speaking at events, whatever. Personally,
always keep it paid for.
forward and help, and I feel very awkward at the fact that you've just
I struggle with that a hell of a lot.
had massive imposter syndrome. So I'm gonna as the janitor and stop talking.
Yeah. Well, that's it's safe to say, and I get the imposter syndrome. Trust me, I still have it. I always will have it. But I rightfully should have it. I mean, we're definitely not as big of a deal as Ignition. You guys are global. This is like, right now, and again, like you guys are growing a lot. So I know that I don't want to make this whole thing about Ignition, but I think having you here is dope, and I appreciate you coming on because like how many people are on your team right now?
We've got about 180, give or take.
180. I don't even think you had 100 when you first came on the show. Maybe 100. I mean, this was before funding, so
It would have been,
well, not that big funding round.
yeah, it was pre
Maybe just
2021. We would have been 50 to 100, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Randy, how many on your team?
About 60.
60. Yeah. At some point, does it just get like past 50? Does it just get to be like it doesn't feel any different from 50 to 180?
You can ask Guy the 180
Yeah.
one. So
I'll tell you what,
The hardest part, knowing everybody super intimately or well. We've always been
so we've got folks in about 24.
24 different cities, just across something like 9 or 10 countries. But like
One-to-one in person.
is something that happened, particularly pile COVID on top, right? So trying to rectify
Difference in the second one is
is making sure, like I always hated the organizational structure.
no problems, and I think that becomes the
The hardest part, trying to get that progression opportunities and taking care of your team, right? Making sure,
and that becomes a
almost like a full-time obsession, almost like picking your, like, oh, this one or that one, and,
Yeah.
and trying to figure out what's going to happen next. So
I think that's the hard part. What we try
to do is make sure that the culture kind of stays a bit more
on certain things
than
than it used to be.
but people are still good at, there's not a lot of ego tied to positions.
But the hard part is trying to keep that culture
The
the
same.
We got him. He's
Hey,
here.
Dave.
I told you I was going to come in for a soccer field. It's the best you're getting, man.
That is perfect timing too, because you just wrapped up, Guy. We were just talking about marketing, and you're the marketing genius here. Like, I'm a little disappointed in you. I'm a little disappointed in you, David Leary, because I don't know if you know, but you guys lost by 3 votes.
Oh, I probably should have signed in and voted.
You that would have given you 1 more vote. You could have voted. You could have had both the accounting twins vote, and you would have won.
I should have made my kids vote, huh? Wow,
Yeah.
what is this?
So
Upset.
Jason Stats going up against Future Firm, and Uncat beat Ignition, and Gusto took on Slack. So the
Wow.
final four is Future Firm, Jason Stats, Uncat, Gusto. David Leary, being the marketing genius that you are here, I love what you did with the bracket, but your final 4 picks were all wrong. Every single one.
It's like a real Final Four contest then, right? Like
It
you
really
get
is,
some right.
yeah. So your bracket's busted. Then mine is definitely busted. Mine would have been busted but I would have had you guys winning it all. That was my
Jeez,
early
huh?
prediction. Byron as well. We both thought you
Can't have
would
anything, everything.
definitely take it on. Can't have it all, but you can have the best hat in the house, and you're obviously protecting yourself from the sun. Is your boy winning the soccer
Son.
game?
Yeah, tournament's been okay. Yeah, we're winning this game. Well, I think this game's still 0-0. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. So your score to reveal the final for you was, although our listeners, anybody, like 168 to 171, super close. And let me just, for perspective here, I mean, it was close. For perspective, Uncat got 319 votes this round. They would have stomped everybody. They took Ignition out. 190 was Ignition. Yeah.
Wow. And then how much did Gusto win by?
Gusto took on Slack by about
30
20.
votes.
Oh, 30. Yeah. 20 or 30. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what are
maybe
your
Uncat's gonna
thoughts
get it.
on this?
Maybe Uncat's going to get the whole thing, huh? They're like the Yukon.
I think so.
20 points.
I mean, UConn is the Huskies, though, right? Like Uncat would be a great mascot. We're trying to figure out which cat would be their mascot, or are they the mascot?
well, they have a cat. It's like a like a frisky's kind of like a cat, right?
Like a house cat.
Typically
Yeah.
like a cat. Yeah, the house cats.
We're gonna call them the Friskies. I like that.
Or the feral cats.
So we said it's also a curse to be on the show if you're in the tournament. So next year I got to be mindful of who I invite on because Guy is here, you're here, Randy's here, I'm here, and Byron. We're all out of the tournament. We have not advanced. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Well, that's what they do, though, right? If you get limited flash, and they bring you in as the commentator. For the next round.
I promise you, I had no idea that this was going to be the way it was. I thought you guys would be victorious. I thought we were going to have two of the Final Four. That's why I wanted you guys both on. I thought we were going to have two Final Four teams in the discussion. I thought it was going to be like a triumphant type move. I got nervous. You guys had the lead. You had the lead the whole way up until when Stats finally woke up and started promoting this. That's when he started getting the votes, and they just came in steady.
No, Blake and I are still winners. We'll tell each other we're winners tomorrow. I'll text.
I know. I think you're winners. You beat Accounting High, so I think you're a winner for sure. That's you stomped us, you crushed us. But to think so now, Future Firm and Jason Stats. Who do you think is going to take that matchup?
So what happens if the votes are a tie?
It's a great question. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet.
Do you get a tie?
If they're a tie, I think we're going to open up overtime. No, it's overtime, just like any other game. So we open up another day of voting. We just have another 24 hours of voting.
All right,
Byron. We haven't run across it yet, but if we do, another 24 hours of voting. Yeah.
Some mobile. Can I? How do I see everybody who's on the call?
I don't know if I can troubleshoot right now. I've never done mobile, but apparently it works. At least I know it works because
I just see the bracket. That's it.
You should. So the bracket, yeah, and I'll post it too. So right now it's Future Firm, Jason Stats in the Final Four.
I almost left.
They go up against each other. Which they are this week. Who do you predict is going to be victorious of that round, that matchup?
Well, I say tie. I think it's going to close to a tie. Then that's going to extend it, and then I don't know. I think Future Firm maybe. Because Brian's community might be a little bit bigger than Realize, and his mailing list is a little bigger. Need a little edge there.
Might be the little edge. He does have a really big mailing list. And he did take you guys. It was 181. Stats ended up with 171. So all in all, though, strong showing from both Earmark and Cloud Accounting Podcast all tournament. It was the potential timeline of you guys going up against each other. If you did go up against each other, then Cloud's obviously going to take that one. Is that what we're all agreeing here?
Yep.
One seed ever.
Your two number one seeds, all three number one seeds got lost this round in this tournament. We had one seeds left.
Maybe not.
And if you saw earlier, the only other one seed in the tournament got knocked out by the 16 seed Expensify. Speaking of Expensify,
how is that a 16 seed? That makes no sense.
How is Expensify 16 seed? Because they only got like 3 nominations. Yeah. And Pluto got like in the 20s.
Okay.
So the more nominations that you guys had the most in the entire tournament, we established earlier, Cloud Accounting Podcast had the most nominations of anybody. So you guys were the overall one seed.
Added.
So
there should have been like 4 votes. That should be added.
Oh, we are not going there. We're not going there. That got you the seeding. That got you the seeding, which got you the best first round matchup, which got you the better second round matchup. You know, like that's the.
Yeah.
You won the podcast bracket handedly.
Uncats.
What was this? Say it again.
It looks like Uncats.
I think they have a good shot at it. Good shot at it. You heard it here first. David Leary predict Uncat wins it all. I love what you did with my image because I left it wide open for you to just put Cloud on there to say Cloud wins. Like that must have been, you must have thought I cheated there or like laid it up for you. It was too easy for you to mock up.
And it's a bad mock-up though, because I skipped the whole round. I didn't even realize it. But I was like, oh, there's a whole like Elite 8 round. I just skipped it.
Well, because I didn't have the championship. Yeah, I know. I didn't put the championship because it was too hard in this Canva image that I had. I couldn't like get it to where you could even see everybody. So I tried to make it so you could see the whole bracket. And then by the time I got there, I was just like, where am I going to put this? And I gave up. So I said, I'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out next year. We'll make it. How do you think this tournament went so far? You're the brainchild behind a lot of this, dude. I blame you for accounting high. I blame you for me. As an individual, without David Leary, there is no Scott. So let's just hear what your thoughts are. Do I get your approval on this tournament?
No, you got to. I think when you told me to do it, I was like, man, it's a lot of work. I would have just done Twitter polls every day, a different Twitter poll, and just had in that 2 app names and done it that way. But what's that? You did a lot. You did a lot. You got a lot of exposure, right?
Byron did a lot, dude.
Byron.
Byron did it all. All I did was talk about it.
Okay.
Team effort. Team effort.
But you still got
So
championship Monday. When are you doing this? The winner.
So we got this week is Final Four. Oh man, I stretched it out. First, we condensed it to try to fit it within the time frame of the regular tournament. And then first and second round, we just realized that nobody voted for the second round, so we were stretching it out. So each week is another round of matchups to give everybody a chance to vote. And then obviously we're just going over it on Sunday and then reveal the next round. So we got 2 more weeks of this. Honestly, this is such a tight matchup right now. Like if Gusto does any kind of promotion, Uncat's in trouble. That's all we could say. Gusto has done this all on the backs of their brand and people knowing them. They didn't really like push this out or promote it much. You guys too, as a fair point, like you guys didn't talk about it that much until a couple of tweets toward the end. Same as Stats. So everybody has made it this far just on their brand, except for Uncat, which they have pushed it hard. So it just shows like the type of branding and marketing will take you.
Well, yeah,
they far.
I found emails about it to know that because I got the emails. Live folks sent out emails about it. Licio sent out emails about it.
Yeah,
those are I think I get emails from. That were like, please go vote.
I mean, and there's a lot. Like early days, early rounds, there was a ton of voting because everybody had the emails out, and within each bracket, there was always somebody like that was really pushing it hard. That got the exposure out, or at least like got everybody talking about it. And then this, like I said earlier, this was a big marketing experiment for us. This is still a big experiment, and we're just like learning as we go. I get a lot of my marketing ideas from a mind like yours. What you've been doing with Cloud Accounting Podcast and the way you market that, the way you do branding, and you're a legend at conferences. We've talked about this last week. Allison said she was your handler at one of these early conferences. Can you explain the story here? How did she become your handler?
It's a kind of a twofold story. 2 parts to it. So one was BQE, which it was a firm management timesheet app. He's now sold it. So it's the Cloud BQE core. They were giving out shirts, and the back of the shirts had like this place you could just write stuff on. Like, I don't know, some people could say like awesome bookkeeper, I don't know, something like that. And we just wrote on Allison's shirt, I'm David Leary's handler. And then I think later that conference, or maybe it was the next conference, and when I'm sitting down, it was coming out of San Antonio, and we were leaving. And I went sitting down with her on a Southwest fight. It happened to be Southwest birthday, and half the fight was people from the conference because it was the only fight. It was basically San Antonio to Phoenix.
Was Hector Garcia on that fight too?
No, because it was going the wrong direction. Hector would have been flying.
Okay.
In Florida. And yes, we wound up, Allison and I wound up, we basically got to handle all the peanuts on the Southwest flight. We had out drinks, and like it was like a party jet. It was awesome. Yeah.
It was like a team going home from the championship, like leaving the championship of the Final Four, and the whole team's in there partying in the flight, right?
Yeah, it was basically it. So, all right. Did
I
Randy
appreciate you.
for the winner?
Yeah, man, you came in perfect timing. We left plenty of space for all of your thoughts, all of your Leary's theories. I think Guy had to hop off. So I want to hear Leary's theories again. We're going to tease your 3-part trilogy on this show eventually. It'll happen. We'll have a whole course on Leary's marketing strategies. I think that's the angle that we can take, is just getting into the mind of Leary. I don't know if you saw my promotion thing for this, but I put your face bigger than everybody else's on the promo, and Accounting High was right on your forehead because it's your brainchild. This came from your mind.
But Scott, you're the only person where I sent you a text that says I can't commit, and you put me as the big center promotion. And I said I can't commit. Only you, Scott.
I said we got 16 minutes of David Leary, and guess what? I think we got 16 minutes just on the buzzer right now. So that's it. That's all we have for our show today. Thanks everybody for showing up, and thank you for joining us, David Leary. Thank you, Guy Pearson, who just hopped off. Thank you, Randy Crabtree, for joining us. Randy, do you have any closing thoughts? I know you've been itching to say something.
Well, when David gets on the show, I just have to shut up and let him go. So, two last things, just on the Final Four. And I don't know if I put my 2 cents here in, but I agree with David said, and I think even Guy said it as well. Uncat, yeah. The way they've come, they're just on a roll. There's no way. In the Future Firm and the Realize of the Jason, I have no idea how to call that one. So it's going to be a fun next week's show. I'm looking forward to it.
Dope. Byron, closing thoughts. That you all are also the mastermind behind all of this too. I know I give Leary a lot of credit for being a FARB, since he doesn't really know how much credit he gets in everything that I do, but yeah, but you, Byron, you've been close to this the whole time.
Oh, dude, this has been so much fun. I'm getting so much out of doing this. I'm loving it. But yeah, man, I'm just looking for gloves off. Fight to the finish here. I want to see it based on what we've seen so far. It's been scrappy getting to this point, and I think Scrappy's going to win it. So. Keep pushing, and these results this round have proven every vote counts. So vote early, vote often.
Well, don't vote often. You can only vote once. You can only vote
Chicago.
Once around. Yeah, for once around, once each matchup. David, would you have done anything differently up until this point if you were running this tournament? Give us your feedback here now while we have your ear.
I mean, as an end user, participation, you had to sign up and get a text and get an email and verify. I mean, get lower barrier entry.
Yeah, so you didn't even make it.
The more people could have participated. I think you had too many barriers of entry. But you got probably 1,700 email addresses out of this.
1,800 at this point.
Hey,
we're so close to 1,800. This was our big play here. How do we get everybody's attention? So, as an attention getter, did it work?
I think so.
All right. Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, I had hoped less than that. Initially I had hoped 10,000. That was my big number. Don't think that's possible. Not anytime soon. But here's to hoping. You got to think big though, right, Dave? That 10,000 number's been in your head for a while, I'm sure. Like getting 10,000 listens an episode or something.
Yeah.
Like you guys you definitely get 10,000 like a week, maybe, or a month.
Yeah, but it's only so we're getting 25 or 30 a month, 40 maybe, but
oof.
Yeah, 10,000 episodes really tough. But that's
what is your biggest number on an episode per episode?
Oh, 5 every time now. We're starting to break
5K. Whoo!
Yeah,
man, that's another big number. But 10K,
right
it's the march. You're on a march to 10K at least if you're already at 5.
Yeah, that's going to be a while.
I'm on a march to 1,000. That's
good. That's a big deal. I remember when we used. I remember when. And actually, there's no overnight successes, right? We're going to get our millionth download here at the end of May.
Ooh.
Look at it. We have episodes with 160.
Wow.
Think about that.
So do I.
Yeah.
I
So
know.
you
I
start-
agree with you there. Like, but the March that like when you hit, let's say when you hit 1,000, how long did that take? Like just to give people perspective of how long it takes
a
to
year.
do this.
A year. A year. Yeah,
And
basically
then-
we're adding 1,000 listeners a year.
Wow. That's
good.
it's super impressive. That's more than any other platform I've seen here. So that's it's a journey though. You say march. You use the word march a lot, right? What do you want to march for right now? March toward. We're going to tease your episode a little bit. Give us your march, and then we'll go. We'll talk about that on your episode.
Now it's cool to have like one top 25 podcast. Now we have two. Federal tax updates as well as a top podcast, top 25. And it's the cooler thing would be to have three. March.
Well, would the coolest thing be number one? To have the
That's a whole
number
different
one.
world. That's Wall Street Journal. That's millions of downloads. There's not even enough accounts. The time market is big enough to beat those guys.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's true.
All right,
Well,
Scott, I gotta wrap this up, man.
it's time to wrap it up. Appreciate you for coming on. Appreciate you, Randy. Appreciate you, Byron. Peace out, everybody. We're gonna play our outro music on the recording, and we will peace out. Thanks, homies.
See y'all.